Hello, we are live,
Are live.
and we are having some major technical difficulties with our volume,
Our volume.
so only on my end. So I'm going to try to speak as little as possible and let Amy do all the talking. So today is day 34 of the Candida Cleanser group cleanse, and I invited Amy to speak with us because she is doing her second round of the Candida Cleanse. And she has such a beautiful story to share of transformation. She went from a stage 4 Candida overgrowth with over 60 symptoms down to a stage 1 with just a couple handful, about 4 to 8 symptoms. And I'm really excited to learn about your journey because I kind of just have a skim of the details of what you share on Facebook. Thank you, Amy, for coming and joining and talking with us.
So choppy, but I think I got the general idea of what's going on. I'm actually on my third cleanse, and I'm sitting on 2 more bottles after this one. I'm like really excited that I still have it. Third cleanse. I've been super naughty. It's been much harder to stick to the proper diet. So I've been eating everything. The last 4 days I'm noticing a major difference. So the gaps and all of that stuff die off wise. Like, it's still work. You are eating properly. It's like, okay, is that die off feeling? Even though people are so afraid of it, the lesser of 2 evils. Of those 8 symptoms that I did have, 4 or 5 of them were because I haven't been eating properly. So it's like, And then I'm thinking I'm testing myself to see how it does with peanuts. I know nobody should have them ever because they're really not that good.
Mm-hmm.
But I've discovered that I really shouldn't have them. I mean, recently I was like craving sugar and peanut butter. And it was...
Mm-hmm. So, Amy,
I don't recommend that to anyone. Yes.
Can you paint a picture for us of where you were 3 cleanses ago? What were all your symptoms?
Yes.
How did you figure out that it was Candida?
Well, it's been a decade, at least a decade, of red flags that I didn't even really understand. Infection, and it was like, oh my gosh, I got a yeast infection. And my mom's like, okay, well, we got into the habit of buying the antibiotic and the Canestin at the same time because it was every single time where I'd get bronchitis. Antibiotics, and we'd still, like, every time we'd buy antibiotics, we'd buy Canestin and thought that was totally normal. So still didn't know anything about Candida overgrowth. I went to a naturopath about 6 years ago because I had pain in my kidney, liver area, like front and back and around. She couldn't really pinpoint it, but she did a swab and she said that I had Candida overgrowth. I'm the doctor at the time, and I told him, and I got in trouble. Like, he literally, like a bad dog, and told me every single person has it. And I was like, oh, okay, so I let it go. And that was 6 years ago. So it had even more time to get worse. What really set me off and got me going on that path was in September. And then I went on a low-carb diet, and nothing happened. I didn't lose, I didn't gain. I just kind of stayed. So there's a little section in the book that I was using, the Atkins book, that said Candida overgrowth. Metabolic resistor. So I was like, I've been told I have this. In fact, she said it sounds like Candida overgrowth because at that point I was getting 2 years ago ringworm 4 times in a row and on different parts of my body. And I was like, that's not right. I knew it was like, and you would use Canestin to get rid of it, like the cream. I knew it was Candida. So I was like, okay, I really need to figure this out. But nothing was working. Tried, ever worked. Symptoms. It affected every part of my body. It affected my eyes, my brain, my organs. They would hurt. Only hurt. I had endometriosis. I would get pimples. I would get crabby at people for no reason, all of a sudden, for no reason. And it would just like, that was awful. I should not have said that. The list is amazing. Like I was like floaters in my eyes, but then like stringy sand in my eyes, and I could just keep fishing things out of my eyes. I never did experience the blindness, the temporary blindness that can happen. That's pretty severe. I think that's stage 5, is it not? It have very painful intercourse. I would faint every time I would stand or come close to fainting. That hasn't actually happened in entire summer. I kind of predicted that that would be the case. And I haven't had the sensation of needing to faint, which is really awesome because my entire whole life pretty much has been me almost fainting. So there's such a long list of things that you wouldn't expect to be a candida symptom, but the worst of the worst were the pains in my legs. Uh-huh. Every time I would talk to my doctor about it, he'd be like, well, there's nothing wrong with you. But I know he made me feel like it was all in my head. Cool. Because I know fairly well. Like I knew it wasn't all in my head. Yeah, it felt like growing pains. It hurt so growing again. And that was the only, it was just, it's all in your head. You're not growing. I don't know. I fired that doctor. I have a new doctor now.
Good. Very good. So how was your first bottle? How was your first cleanse? So when you finally figured out it was Candida, you found the Candida cleanser. What made you do it? So many people are so scared to take the plunge.
Yeah, it's the weirdest. It was like kismet. My sister and I, like 4 years ago, constantly, and we met this relationship of meeting him was kismet. And then all of a sudden he was like, I think I was at my very worst symptoms wise. I got an email from my sister. Kyle thinks he has this. You should check it out. And it was a link to Patty's webinar, things about Candida. So I click and I watch 45 minutes of Patty like, this is me. Like this brain fog I'm experiencing, it's ridiculous. Like I don't remember what I did 20 minutes ago. In some cases, I forget what I had for dinner. And it's like, or at least, I don't know. The brain fog was a big one. But just took watching Patty's webinar and I was like, okay, I need this. But I had credit cards and I was like, I'm willing to make that sacrifice. It's not a sacrifice, not taking this sacrifice. Like I didn't want to get any worse and I didn't realize that there were stages. I mean, putting it in the form of stages makes it so much easier to understand. Mm-hmm. People don't even really know what it is.
Yeah, it's stage 5. You said you're in stage 4. And stage 5 is essentially cancer and death. This is a fungus that will eat you alive. It will make your life a living hell if you do not get on top of it. So, yeah, it makes a lot of sense when you think of it in stages.
Yeah, it does. And it's a picture for you to understand your healing process. Stages. It's like, okay, I don't even know where to begin. I've been lucky. I haven't had to do GAPS intro. I managed to get this. 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 I man this far on full gaps, and I know finish off nicely if I just start from, because then I won't reinfect, because I know my gut's almost there, but not quite. Like, I still can't eat cucumbers, which is saying you still have leaky gut. Like, I'm even just one food item that's not working still fix my gut still. My friend Kyle, we all went and got our blood looked at by the microscope nutritionist, and he was told he had no candida in his blood anymore, and he was like, oh my god, he was the happiest I've ever seen anybody about anything ever. And he's the one email, and so he was like, oh my god, it works so well. So he was like, I've got 2 bottles, and then like 3 of the other people that we brought with us to the blood needed them. So he's like, you can buy them from me. So now they're taking it. So, I mean, it's working out really well that we have all these extra bottles. I don't know. It was not, I don't know. The die-off wasn't enough to scare me off. Like the sound of like, oh my gosh, I could feel sick. Wait a second, I always feel sick. My friend Kat, she's been be sick every single morning without fail. And then she started doing things to eradicate the candida. Now she's on CCWS and she's fine. She's waking up in the morning without being sick. She's able to drink a full glass of water and keep it down. She's like, this is amazing. Her was nothing compared to going through. I mean,